name's Lanny and this is my January wrap-up. I read a total of 5 books in the month of January, which is actually kind of normal because in the beginning of the year I'm always so motivated to read, and then in the end of the year just kind of trickles away the motivation. But the books I read were really, really good, and I want to start off with Carry On by Rainbow Rowell. I rate this book 5 out of 5 stars, and I will be posting a video talking about how much I love the book and why I loved it, along with like 3 other reviews in that same video. Rainbow Rowell wrote my most favorite ever contemporary, Fangirl, and so when she tried doing fantasy, which is my most favorite type of genre, I was so ready for this, okay? But when I got the book, I like held off on reading it. I wouldn't mind if she did another fantasy book, but I think she should stick with contemporaries, because even though it was a fantasy book, it still felt like a contemporary to me. But because it felt like a contemporary, it was really, really cute. And sure, the magic and fantasy aspects of it was really interesting, but I don't really think that was what compelled me to keep on reading. But the characters, of course, and the dialogue, and just the relationship between Simon and Baz was just, oh my goodness, that was the cutest thing. And I actually have a full review on it on Goodreads if you want to read that, but you probably don't because it's really long. I actually started using my Goodreads more frequently, like I started updating it more and then keeping up with it because Goodreads is cool. So if you want to go add me there, self-promo. My dog says go add me there. He smells bad! I read it so long ago that I can't even go into an in-depth discussion on it right now because I don't remember a lot of it, but I just know that I really loved it. And then the next book that I read was A Court of Thunder and Roses by Sarah J Maas, and it was my first completed Sarah J Maas book because I had tried reading Throne of Glass a couple years ago, but that didn't work out very well for me. So I tried this one and it was really slow. It wasn't really slow, but I didn't find it interesting until the last like 100 to 200 pages. I rate that one 4 out of 5 stars, and I think just Sarah J Maas's writing style is not my favorite. I think that's what's going on. But I am definitely going to read the second book because I want to see what happens next. And the next book that I wrote is actually kind of disappointing, and it was Dream a Little Dream by Kirsten Gier. Kirsten Gier had actually written the Ruby Red trilogy, and I really enjoyed that series, but this one was just such a disappointment compared to that one, and I didn't like it nearly as much, even though the idea was interesting to me. The entire thing was just really cliche to me, and I couldn't get over that fact. And then the romance was just super cheesy. And the entire time I was reading it, I kept on comparing it to her Ruby Red trilogy, and it felt like I had read all these characters before. Like, nothing felt different. And then it was following the whole, oh, there are 5 attractive guys in this private school that are super rich and super out of your league, and then we have the clumsy girl. And then the next book that I read was The Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab. A lot of books that I find on BookTube, I put on hold for some unknown reason. I don't know why I keep on doing that, because this is another book that everyone on BookTube loved, but I was like, oh, okay, it sounds interesting, and so I got it on Book Outlet, but then I put off on holding it for like a month or 2, and then I read it, and I was just astounded because this book is freaking great. I love the characters, but what I loved most about the characters was not only their freaking beautiful snarkiness to each other, but it was also their strengths and weaknesses and how it played throughout the entire plot of the book. Because the main character is an Anari, and then he's supposed to be super powerful, but he's also really inexperienced, and that was definitely a problem that he had to face a lot throughout the book. I want the second book, but something tells me that the second book is going to annoy me with how it starts, because we're going back to this whole Black London thing. Like, that's not ending. This is a really bad summary of what I felt, but it is 5 out of 5 stars. And if you want to see what I actually thought about it, I have a Goodreads. And then the last book that I read in January was finally Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson. Why had I put that off for so long? Like, that, oh my, I have a full review of that one that I will be posting eventually, explaining everything. I had filmed that review like a day after I had finished the book, and some of it I had even filmed while I was reading the end of the book, and if you read Mistborn, you know the last 200 pages are just, that's something else, man. That's 5 out of 5 stars. I'm laughing so hard because I can't believe that I was dumb enough to ignore all of these booktubers' recommendations to read Mistborn. This is like The Martian and Darker Shade of Magic all over again, but it's beautiful, guys. Like, at the very beginning, for the first 400 to 500 pages, it's all pretty much building up, and it's not very actiony, but it's still interesting nonetheless, but it doesn't fill you with anticipation like a lot of other books do. Like, I could put that book down anytime I needed it, and I wasn't in any rush to read it. But I kept on finding that I wanted to keep on picking the book back up, but I'm going to be touching on this in my full review of it. When I post that, you guys can see how distraught I really was. But that is all the books that I read in January, so thank you so much for watching.